Hi, welcome to Heart of a Pronghorn. And today we're joined by Pronghorn men's basketball alumnus Allen Kadima. Just a brief introduction for Allen. Allen played the 2007 and 8 and 2008-9 season with the Pronghorns after transferring from University of Pickville in Kentucky. His final season with the Pronghorns, he led the Canada West in assists and set an all-time new single-season mark for Pronghorns with 144 assists, and graduated with a Bachelor of Arts majoring in French. Welcome, Alan. Good to see you again.
Good seeing you. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it has.
Yes.
Kind of first question was, originally from Toronto, playing down in Kentucky. What brought you to the University of Lethbridge?
Mostly Coach Conley. I known Coach Conley from when he was recruiting me when he was still an assistant coach at the University of Toronto. And when my coach in Kentucky got fired, I was looking for something else, something different. And somebody actually, my AAU coach actually suggested University of Lethbridge. I never knew or heard of the University of Lethbridge before. So I was like, oh, okay, no problem. Let me double check that. And ironically, Coach Conley was the head coach there at the time. So you remember me from high school. And and then from there it was just like, come through.
Okay, and then when you got to Lethbridge, kind of what was your first impressions of coming out west and in being in a smaller town in southern Alberta?
Um, it was different, yes, but at the same time, I had never been to western part of Canada. So it was an opportunity to kind of see. I had been in the eastern part of Canada multiple times and never to the west. So it was kind of an opportunity to be able to see different provinces while playing basketball, obviously. And as far as the town, it was okay because where I was in Kentucky was also small. It was like in the middle of the mountains. We're probably half an hour away from Lexington, where University of Kentucky is. So we spent a lot of time over there. But so I was kind of used to it a little bit as far as like being in a smaller town. And I think it fit for me academically because being in a bigger city, I think would have been a lot distracted. That's the reason why I didn't go to like Ryerson or UFT or something like that.
Okay, yeah, that sounds great. And one of the things I wanted to ask you was, obviously I was here during your time, but and have some memories of myself. But what was your favorite memory now that you look back over 10 years of your time here at University of Lethbridge?
Oh, I think the friendship. I think the friendship more than anything that I was able to build, not only on the basketball with the basketball guys, but I think a lot of it mostly outside of basketball. Because even now, what I'm doing, I preach a lot of it to the kids now that we help out. Is don't get stuck in that bubble of the basketball team and just kind of meet people from outside of basketball. That kind of increases your network in a sense. So I think to me that's like one of the best memories. And I guess basketball wise, just the trips, the ability to you know to learn different culture and different provinces and stuff like that. Going to BC, like leaving Lethbridge and driving all the way to in the Okanagans. That was something else. That was an experience in its own. Or going to UBC and then the next day driving, catching the ferry to go over to Victoria and going through that, through the ferry ride. All of that, those experiences are a lot of people that where I grew up never experienced and probably will never experience, right? But also makes it for life lessons and makes it for good conversations, right? With people that you meet from different parts, and when they tell you, hey, I'm from, I don't know, the Okanagans, you could be like, yeah, I've been there, and this is what I know and this is what I learned over the years, right? So that's probably like one of my best memories.
Okay, and it kind of segue into it. Tell us what you're doing now.
So I work for a marketing firm called Stack. It's like a it was it was a startup company. So I pretty much do marketing. Yeah, nothing to do with French. So that's one of the things I do. Another thing I do is I kind of stay to in basketball. So I also did have a sports agency that we're running, me and a partner of mine. And another thing I do is we have a nonprofit called Académie de Sport du Congo, which is because I'm originally from the Congo. And so we bring a lot of kids from the Congo on basketball scholarships and whatnot. Actually, there's a documentary out right now called Anyone's Game, based out of Orangeville, Ontario, and it follows kind of like the Orangeville Prep basketball team. And one of my kid that actually was here kind of like as a refugee, and I took him under my wing is, they follow him and I'm in it, and they, came to my house and all that. So we do a lot of that. So we help them get scholarships to a high school in the United States and Canada, and then eventually to NCAA or U Sport team. So we got about 13 kids the last 5 years we've helped out. And out of the 13, we have about 4 that are NCAA. One that graduated, one graduated from Southern Utah, and now he's working. The other one graduated from Fairfield University, and he's playing actually in the NBA G League team right now. And a couple of other guys right now that, they're in college right now and in high school. So that's kind of what I've been doing. Just been staying busy with that. And I have a 6-month-old baby as well. So just kind of keeps me busy.
Yeah, busy guy. Let's kind of delve into, the sports agency and bringing these kids over, trying to place them into a university, either in the US and Canada, and, talk a little bit about the process that you and your partner do in trying to identify these kids and find a place that, fits for them both athletically and academically.
Oh, man. I guess the biggest thing is the first process, because I kind of, like I said, I stick to the kids in the Congo because, a lot of them don't have the opportunity to be able to go to school. So that's one of the main things that I kind of made my focus on what I know. So we set up camps. So I try to go down almost every summer to the Congo. We set up camps, and from there, I have a network of coaches that I know that I play with, or that introduced me to somebody else or whatever, that, we are able to place them mostly in the US. And we try to find private schools in the US with host families. So we got to follow their all their career through academically, both academically and athletically. Just recently, I started bringing in kids in Canada because at least in Ontario, more and more schools are able to give some scholarships. So that process alone, it's a lot of work because, the Canadian government works a little bit different than the American government. With the US is they identify the kid, they like him, they give him a scholarship, they send what you call an I-20. From there, you set up an interview with the US Embassy and they give you a visa or not, right? With Canada, it's a little bit different. There's no interviews, but there's a whole bunch of papers that got to be filled out, lawyers that have to notarize documents. And then from there, once the package is put in together properly, you send it off and you wait for the delay. Right now, there's a long delay because of COVID. And you just kind of wait, and then they give you an answer if it's good to go. But more likely, as long as the documents is good, they kind of award these kids visas. So once they get here, the school takes care of like the dorms and the obviously the academics or anything like that, and we kind of take care of everything that's off court. Yeah.
And so are you mostly targeting kids that are ready for college already, or are you doing both high school and college?
No. Mostly high school, because it's such a different, whether it's in youth sports or in the US, it's so much different than what they're used to. One thing they do have, obviously, is some type of God-given athletic abilities. So we kind of work with that. So the younger, the better, for them to get accustomed. We're from a French-speaking country, so for them to get accustomed to the language, that's also something that plays a part in how young we bring a kid. The youngest kid that I ever brought was 12 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, he was 12 years old. It's not easy. He was 12 years old, brought him over to US. He's in Florida. A year after, his dad passed away. So I had to deal with that. So there was a lot of crisis management. Even yesterday, that was part of the reason why I missed the call, because I was dealing with a crisis with a kid, right, who's depressed because, we're in COVID, he's not playing and all kind of stuff. So now all of a sudden his grades are slipping a little bit. So the school called me and I have to kind of deal with that, right? But yeah, it's but I love it. It's rewarding. That's kind of what I know. I'm a basketball lifer, and I can't play no more. It is what it is. But if I can help out, then that's definitely what I'm going to do.
No,
And hopefully we can get some at University of Lethbridge.
Yeah, that would be great to see.
Yes.
Obviously it's a little more than just being an agent. You're kind of filling in and helping guide them from the time that you meet them to the time that they graduate.
Yes, definitely. It's a lot of work, but I love it.
That's great. Just kind of one final question. Now that you kind of reminiscing a little bit, how would your time at University of Lethbridge influenced, what you're doing now and how it shaped you?
It did a lot. I think as time went, I think I realized more and more how much my time at Lethbridge kind of helped out with that. The challenges that we had to go through, being in a different environment, different culture, people trying to understand who we are, us trying to understand who they are, and how they grew up, definitely has helped, with what I'm doing now. And it's kind of giving me an idea to, even when I go and select these kids, I kind of evaluate who they are, right, and where they can fit, based on, my knowledge and my personal experience, right? When I came to Lethbridge, I was able to help recruit, I forgot what it was like 4 or 5 of us or something like that from Toronto, I believe. But most were transfer, right? So yeah, Rob was a transfer. So he was kind of used to being away from home. Nadell Philbert went to the college, but he was also a transfer, and he came, and I think he's still, and I believe he's still in Lethbridge. But he came from a tough environment, so it was like, let me get out of there and have something different. And so he grew to kind of mold himself into that. But then we had two younger guys from high school, straight from high school, which was Sefton and Brennan. It was harder for them, right? Because they'd never been away from home. So all of a sudden there was certain support that they're supposed to get, they weren't getting, right? So academically and just everything else that was going on didn't help their adjustment, right? So they eventually left after a year. But if they were to do it, if I had to do it back, it would be like, okay, this might not fit for you, or let's have certain support in order for them to be able to adjust and eventually excel and stay at the school and graduate, etc.
Good stuff. I think that's all I got for you today. Thank you for joining us. It was great catching up with you again. Stay tuned for the next Heart of a Pronghorn coming soon.